Well, here we are at Fred and Jody's. We are down here. We are still working on the overheating issue, but Fred thinks he might have dialed it in. And I am actually getting ready to do my maiden voyage in Cole's TR6. I'm actually going to pull it out of the garage. Big trip, going about maybe 100 feet. But since I've been here, Fred has worked on the timing, dialed that in, and looking forward to my first cruise.
Okay, so I also decided to redo the fuel tank sending unit, gasket, and little grommets for the screws. Wanted to redo that because I suspected that while we have it out, let's go ahead and fix that and make it brand new so there's no leakage there down the road. In addition to that, I also redid the drain plug area, so that's all brand new, fresh, cleaned up. And then into the garage, I wanted to show you what else I did today, and that was to put in a vent for the fuel. The fuel tank has no vent, and some of the Triumphs had a nipple that came off the tank itself. Yours did not, and so I substituted this piece right here. This bottom piece has got a threaded coupling in here. I put that in there, so now we're going to run a tube out, and that will take care of that funny fuel tank sucking problem.
Okay, you're on.
There we go. All right, well, as you can hear, we've got it really smooth. Fred, what did you do to get this to sound so smooth?
Just a carburetor adjustment and the timing adjustment. So now she's sitting down, she's idling where she should be.
You did something with the vacuum advance. Did you replace the vacuum advance?
No, not yet. It's just running on centrifugal.
Gotcha.
Could be running out of gas. There's not much in there.
Which is probably not a bad thing since we need to fix the plug in the tank, so probably not a bad thing. Right now we're just testing to see if we can get it up to temperature and then see what we can do about maybe getting it to, see if we can get it to overheat or not. Well, Fred, I think we may have come up with a verdict on the overheating problem. We don't know for sure. What do you think?
Radiator issue, I believe. We'll go there first. It'll be
Well,
the easiest.
Well, we think that the radiator might be clogged up. We do have a spare radiator that we got from our friend Dave, and we are going to take the old one off, and we will eventually put this one that we got that has been, looks like it may have been re-cored. We're not sure, but it was cleaned and tested. and we will see if maybe that might solve the problem of the riddle. Here's hoping. Well, here we are in the process. We've drained the radiator that we had in here. Bolts are all off here in the plate, and we are getting ready to remove this. Just have to get the pesky hose on the very bottom unhooked, and we will be removing this, what we thought was a good radiator. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we've taken the extra radiator that we got from Dave yesterday, and we're getting ready to install it. Got it kind of finger tight in right now, working on that pesky bottom hose, and we shall see. All right, so Fred, after doing just a little test with the old one and then with the new one, we filled up the radiator we just took out, and it
Had good flow.
It had good flow.
So now I'm gonna try it again.
Yep.
See what happens.
All right, so we're going to fill this bad boy up with some water. We now have all our bolts and our hoses back in place, and we are going to see if this solves the riddle of the overheating. So here we go.
Sure didn't take long, did it?
Hey, listen, you know, sometimes you just gotta. Right now, we're just gonna fill it up with water for right now. We are going to take it out, and there's no need to waste valuable antifreeze, because we will probably end up taking it out and putting some high temp paint on it and make it look really good. So fingers crossed. Okay, so we have the replacement radiator in, filled full of water. And now we're just doing a test to see if we can bring it up to temperature, make sure we got flow. One of the things that we've noticed, why we believe the old one was clogged, is that the overflow tank would completely fill up and start spewing out. So we're going to give this a few minutes to see if we see that as well. All right, so we've got the new radiator in, or new to us, and it seems to be working properly. We've got a temperature right now just above 1. We turned it off and let it heat up a little bit, let the ambient heat kind of get it hotter, and then we turned it on and it worked its way all the way back down. Interesting, Fred, the bottle's not filling up anymore.
Oh, it isn't.
I think maybe there's a combination of some air too.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of water in the bottom. All right, here we go, test run. I see you trying to get it into second gear.
I'll do it this time.
Do it, baby.
So, I was asked to explain a little bit about the cooling condition of this Triumph. And even though there was no thermostat, it's just a blank plate in here. And hoses are new, water pump is new, lower steel pipe is new. and we put on a radiator that had come from a repair shop. Supposedly had been tested and was flowing well. This is a case of taking something for granted, and in this case, it was not flowing well, and I assumed that it was, and of course, we know what that does. So consequently, what we ended up doing was, after much testing, the symptom was that the car would run for 5 or 10 minutes at the very most. Temperature gauge would start to peg. Water would start boiling out of the radiator and into the reservoir, indicating that it was not getting a good flow. The secret tool which was used to repair it? Not really. What he ended up doing is we got a good used radiator from someone else, tested the flow on this before we put it in the car, and this flowed considerably better than the other one. So we installed this one, and just as a safety measure, instead of the 7-pound cap, I put in a 13-pound cap to see what it would do. Just on water, no antifreeze. It sat in the Florida heat and idled for a half an hour without any overheating issues at all. It only even got to the first notch. After about a half an hour running, I could actually grab the top radiator hose and it was cool. So I consider the problem solved.